Michael Blockhus, appreciate you taking some time and hopping on to talk a little bit of wrestling, talk a little bit of fighting today. So the first question I have for you is, what made you want to step into the cage?
Um, I just think it's the mentality and just you got to be a little crazy to do it, to be honest. It it takes a man to get in there with another man, and it's you're going in there to kill each other, right? It's just you're not going in there to just wrestling's different because when you get on a mat, you know you're not going to get punched in the face, and you don't have a chance of dying in a cage. Is like the risk is a lot more higher than it is in wrestling and stuff. But I've always enjoyed combat and things like that, and that's why I got into wrestling too at a young age. It's just the physical part of it is unmatched like any other, and also wrestlers dominate in MMA, so why not step my foot into the ring?
Yeah, you mentioned wrestlers are dominating in MMA. We've seen a ton of wrestlers. Specifically, you're with Bellator. You've got Johnny Eblin, you've got Logan Storley, who went to Minnesota as well. I mean, obviously Brock Lesnar, who I'm sure you've seen in the room as well. And the same day you made your debut, you had Jo, and then obviously Crutchmer is there. There's a number of guys that are on Bellator. Is that kind of what made you want to sign with Bellator, seeing how they treat the wrestlers that are making their transition into fighting?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm surrounded by some of the best wrestlers that have ever gone. Even like being around Jo on the world level, he's one of the best wrestlers on the world level. But seeing him transition to MMA like kind of the same time I was, and not a just that, but we got to be on the same card was exciting. I actually just did a one fight deal with Bellator, so right now I'm kind of wide open on the promotion side of things after this season. But yeah, I mean that card was awesome. I lived with Logan Storley down in Florida, so he's kind of like my big brother and taking me under his wing. And they helped like they since they were wrestled at the highest level, they know what it takes to transition into MMA, and it helped move my process up much faster and smoother than say other wrestlers that go into MMA and they don't have those guys to follow and look up to. And not only that, just pick their brain. Even in the wrestling side of things, I got to train with them all summer and pick their brain with wrestling, which helped this year and in my MMA for sure.
Yeah, well, how would you say is it's different getting prepared for a fight out as opposed to a wrestling match or even a
Yeah, I mean,
wrestling season?
yeah. I would say it's a little easier on your body, to be honest. Like wrestling, making weight every week is brutal. And when you tell some of these MMA guys what you have to do throughout the season and let alone NCAA tournament when you do it 3 days in a row, they're just like, what? Like they just are so confused about it and don't understand why you have to make the weight and it's only an hour or two before you compete. And that's what I think separates us is that mentality side of things and how hard it is to grind out an entire NCAA wrestling season. And that transitions over into MMA where you already have that and you know you're only going to make weight one time and you have over 24 hours on a weigh-in, but it's more like training for MMA throughout the entire summer, which I did. It's a lot of little things that you have to tweak with your wrestling where jujitsu plays into things or getting punched, kicked. Like it's just a bunch of little things that you're going to have to tweak up to transition to MMA that you don't necessarily think about. But I got some of the best coaching staff down there and training partners down in Florida that make that transition smooth. So, yeah, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. So you take your first fight and then you decide that you're going to come back and wrestle. What was the deciding factor of saying, you know what, I got one more season in me and I'm going to go back and be a go for, this one last time?
Yeah, it's kind of like in the middle of summer. This happened before my fight, actually. Me and Gable Steveson call each other, and we keep up like maybe once or twice a week, just asking how things are going, how he's doing back home, and he mentioned coming back too. So then I was like, oh wow, maybe we can get the team rolling and go try to chase a team trophy, which we've been dreaming about and wanting to do. But not only that, even for myself, I All American made finals of Big Tens last year. Like I did a lot of things that people didn't think I could do, but I've always believed I can do. And those were some boxes I got to check off. And I've always wanted to fight, so I told the coaches like, hey, this is what I want to do. Like I'm 100% in on fighting. Whatever I do, I'm not half in, half out. So I'm gonna go down. I'm moving down. I'm gonna start this new career. And then me and Gable had a conversation about maybe coming back, and um, I want to win an NCAA championship, and he wants to get a team trophy. He already knows he can win an NCAA championship. He's the best in the freaking world. So we can come back and try to do this for this team. And I was like, all right, I got to make sure I can still fight because this is what I want to do. I'm fighting regardless, but if I can fight and then potentially come back to wrestle, then I'll do it. But if I can't come back after I fight, I'm not going to come back and wrestle. Like I'm all in on fighting. So after that all got cleared and I was able to come back, then I was all in. After I got done with the fight, moved my stuff back up within like a week or two, and now I'm all back in and wrestling. So that's just how I've been since it started day one.
So obviously, you're fighting at 145, but you're wrestling at 157. You wrestled last year at 149. How's that weight jump been? And did you decide to go up to 157 since you'd be fighting at such a lower weight at 145?
Yeah, I told him originally like I would come back 49 or 57. Obviously, I'm thankful I can go 57 because I'm still a little bigger. I mean, I'm not a big 57 pounder, but I was cutting a decent amount for 149. And fighting is different because you have such a long time to
Mm-hmm.
rehydrate and fuel for the fight. Making 149 would have been really tough and hard on the body where I just couldn't get the 100% performance that me and the coaches want. So 157 seemed to be the best fit. I don't have to cut as much weight. I have more pop. You've seen it in my last couple of matches where I'm able to wear and tear on these guys and still explode like I am in period one because of the weight management and doing things the right way, where this just makes things a lot better for the ultimate performance, what you want out of every single guy.
Now, you talked about those last couple of matches. Obviously, big win over Franic, and that really propelled you into your match with Peyton Robb. I want to talk about that match with Franic first. You got the winning takedown late in that bout. What were you expecting going into a match with a guy who is very stingy, very heavy hands, just like yourself? Is that the match that you expected to have?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a tough, gritty kid, and he's always been known to wrestle hard. But after this summer, I mean, my mentality switched. I got in a cage with another guy, then we went in and threw hands at each other. Wrestling is, I mean, I'm just going to lay it all out there and win or lose. It doesn't matter, to be honest. At the end of it, a lot of these guys put a lot of pressure on themselves, whether like what people think about them. And it's just a matter of not caring anymore, going out there and giving. If you give 100%, the coaches tell us all the time, they're going to be proud of you. Where some guys will go out and maybe they relax for a second or they're just not giving it all for 7 minutes. 7 minutes isn't that long when you think about it. So yeah, just going out there. I believe in myself, and I know I have a small group that believes in me. That we know I'm going to go out on top no matter what, and that's just what I believe. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat everyone, and that's my mentality going into every single match. If you have a thought that you're going to lose, I mean, it's probably going to end up happening, right? So yeah, I mean, going into that match, I knew I was going to win, and you got to wrestle all 7 minutes to win a match.
And then you transition that right into a win over Peyton Robb, and that match was a lot more dominant than your win over Franic. As I said, you got the last takedown and ride out over Franic, which is obviously an X factor to be an All-American, to be on the podium, and you know that. But then that match with Peyton Robb, like I said, you were more dominant. What were you feeling in that match that allowed you to kind of be more offensive and really let it loose more so than you did up against Franic?
Yeah, you kind of just get into the groove of things, right? I mean, Payne came out swinging right away, and he took me down. But it's just a matter of like not caring, like I said, and who cares if you give up a takedown, right? You're gonna get out. Just keep going, and then eventually you get out, you get a takedown. Now you're winning. Like it's just little things like that. You just got to focus on one thing at a time. If you start to get overwhelmed and focus on the entire 7 minutes in one, it's never going to work. If you focus on, hey, I'm going to get my knee in front of me, get out, like think little things at a time, then eventually points are going to add up. You're going to get in your groove and start to score some points. So that's exactly what I was thinking going in is who cares if you get taken down, like get out and you're fine.
Speaking of takedowns, the new 3-point takedown, it's obviously a completely new skill set, and guys are thinking a little bit differently with that rule set. How would you kind of assess it? How do you feel about it? And once you started to kind of get rolling with it, was it one of those really fun transitions in the sport?
Yeah, I think the 3-point takedown is great because I mean, getting a takedown is one of the hardest things to do in wrestling, from going on your feet to taking another guy down, right? And sometimes guys will squeal a reversal. So say you get a takedown, they reverse you, and it was the old 2-point rule, then they're already tied up again, right? And now where they're pretty much rewarding us for the hard work that we do by getting the 3-point takedown. And not only that, but it makes matches more exciting. You're putting more points up on the board. You can get major decisions. Tech falls a lot quicker. And you kind of see that in freestyle too, where you see the tech falls and all the other stuff, the point system. It makes the matches go quicker or more exciting. And that's what they're trying to do with folk style. And I think it's working.
So, I want to talk to you about the outlook of the rest of the season. Obviously, you're in dual meet season right now, and nobody knows the Big Ten grind like a Big Ten wrestler. Dig into that a little bit, and what is your outlook for the rest of the season, and how would you explain that dual meet grind for somebody who just doesn't get it or hasn't wrestled in the Big Ten?
Yeah, that's exactly why I came to Minnesota in the first place, is because Big Ten wrestling separates yourself from any other competition there is in the NCAA. I think personally, I mean, I've wrestled in the Big 12, I've wrestled people from the other conferences, and there's nothing like a Big Ten matchup, especially those top five matchups you get. And I'm blessed I get to wrestle Franic and Peyton Robb in the same week. Like, that stuff is what gets me exciting, right? Is having those hard matches, and that's just what I've lived for in my entire life, is that grittiness and having to push an entire 7 minutes and going through the hard stuff. I've never enjoyed the easy matches and getting like quick tech falls and stuff. Yeah, they're fun and you win, but those hard ones that are kind of close where you really have to bite down and just grit it out, those are the exciting ones that gets fans on their feet. In Big Tens, you look at my weight class, 157. I don't even know how many guys we got ranked in the top eight, four or something like that. Um, it's like a mini national tournament, and it prepares you for the NCAA tournament, which is the big show. But also, you're going in knowing that you wrestle the best guys throughout the entire season. This is nothing. You've done it before, and that's just kind of that mentality switch that we have over others.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about the team before I let you go. Obviously, you and, Patrick McKee, you guys are in your final season and you guys are just grinding it out, right? This is a grind, as you said, being in the Big Ten. What's it mean to you to have a team that matches that same grind that you and veterans like Pat McKee have?
Yeah, we kind of take these young guys under our wing, right? But they keep us young too. I'm not saying we're old or anything, but we're 6 year in college. You got to stay motivated, and these guys are hungry. This team's hungry. They want to win. They want to be at the top. And when you surround yourself with guys like that, then it's going to push you past your limits. Like, especially with vets like me and Pat, right? Like, you get to a stalemate where you're like, gosh, like how can I get myself to improve? Where you pick these young guys' brains, they pick your brain, and that's all you're going to do is keep building each other towards the top. And yeah, I'm super thankful to be on this team and come back to the Minnesota Gophers, and blessed every single day, just taking it day by day and enjoying the process.
So last question for you is about Coach Eggum. Obviously, he signed an extension this season. What's it mean to you to be a part of a team that ultimately helps a coach like Coach Eggum sign an extension, right? You're grinding, you're winning, and you're part of that success story that allows him to continue to coach guys that are coming after you. What does that mean to you to have a guy like that in your corner?
The thing that's different with the Minnesota coaches that I've seen with a lot of others is they truly care, right? They're gonna fight tooth and nail for you, whether it's for the little things in wrestling matches or outside of wrestling matches, and they truly are like a father figure or a really close friend, right? Him, Becker, Bramble, Sanders, we got the best coaching staff that truly cares for their athletes, and they teach you life skills outside of wrestling, which is more important, I think. And just enjoying it every day. That's why we go out there and wrestle our hardest, is not only for ourselves, for them, for our fans, for our family. Like, that's what's going to separate us from anybody else.
Man, that's awesome. It's awesome to see you guys grinding. I've known, Pat McKee for such a long time when he was just a real small, I think 106-pound freshman back in high school. And, to see you guys, grinding out and winning these matches, it's awesome to watch. Sit back and watch you guys on Big Ten Network, and then I'll obviously see you at the Big Ten tournament, and obviously at NCAAs as well. So it'll be awesome to see you guys kind of up close and personal, and see what you guys are doing, the work you've put in during the season. Thank you very much for sitting down and chatting with me. It's been, I said, awesome to watch you win, and it was awesome watching those two wins over last week, and can't wait to see even more of what you guys have for the rest of the season.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.